Hello, it's Ninja Dan, and today is going to be a very different video. I'm going to be telling a few stories actually. Last year, I was a very prolific level uploader. I mean, you can take a look at any one of these levels, and it's just some random trash you'd find in the recent tab. And I mean, I'm not making levels like these because I want to show people I can build or anything like that. But it's more so that I just find it very fun, no matter how they end up coming out in the end. I just enjoy the process, just building whatever, uploading it. I'm prolific in this era, and I was also prolific back when I started playing Geometry Dash as well. However, unfortunately there have been multiple periods in the game's history where there have been changes to the servers and levels have been lost, and unfortunately my account was one of the many things affected by this. I'm pretty sure I started in 1.9. Not many of my oldest levels survived. The YouTube era began in 2022 and beyond, and then this is the older era. And Trains on Track I don't even think is the oldest level that I've uploaded to the servers. I've uploaded way more, even older levels, but this isn't even close to the newest level that I uploaded in that era either. So there's just a whole lot of history lost here. And a lot of these levels I made while I was in high school, and I had friends who also played Geometry Dash. In fact, some of the levels that aren't here, that have probably been lost to time, were like challenges for my friends, and then I would upload challenges that they made for me, etc. There was lots of back and forth of levels, and certainly out of everyone I was the most prolific. This is the earliest level I have on my account that is meant to be of Back on Track, but I don't think I really understood how the copy function worked, that you could find copy versions of levels, so this is as accurate as I could build Back on Track from my memory. Yeah, actually this isn't even close to the earliest level that I had uploaded to my account, because I've obviously discovered how to make invisible objects, and that only happened like mid-2017. Wow, this gameplay is very boring. I don't really have anything interesting to say about a lot of these levels, because a lot of them don't really have any engrossing stories with them. But I will say that one spike isn't even the first entry in the Spike trilogy. The first one was just called Spike, which was just a large spike. And then this is a second one called One Spike. And then there's a third one which is also lost. But yeah, this is essentially, the gimmick is there's only one spike. Spike is near. Builds your anticipation. And yes, there is one spike, but it is large. Magic trick number 1. This level's interesting because this is one where I tried to fool my friends that I created a magical level in the editor that would change the colors of their icon. And I did manage to fool a few people, but not many. As you can tell, it's not the greatest Geometry Dash magic trick ever made. Uneven Rainbows was also a particularly interesting level because me and my friends, we were sharing a lot of levels back and forth, and sometimes we made levels to annoy each other. There's this one person who really hated it when rainbows and levels weren't put together properly. And so I made this level called Uneven Rainbows. As you can see, all these rainbows are completely uneven. Yeah, it's just copy-pasted uneven rainbows for like a minute and 6 seconds or something like that. Sure, I may have uploaded prolifically to my account, but my friends didn't so much. They like to focus on levels they spent a lot of time on, trying to look good, trying to bring them to the full length. Unfortunately, not many of these levels survive due to what happened with the servers, but I think I could find a few. This one here is called The Ruins. This was a level that one of my friends worked on. I think I was the first person to introduce moving objects to everyone because I saw them in other levels and I'm like, how are they doing this? And so I actually did some research, found a tutorial, found out how to do moving objects, and I showed everyone else, and became a staple, as you can see with that. We made lots of levels like that. This person in particular wasn't too much of a level builder, they were more of a player. In fact, they were the best in our group. Like, they never completed any demons, but like, barely anyone in our school had completed any demons. He had unlocked every single Rob Top demon, and then I think the furthest he had was on Deadlocked, where we got up to the ship section. I think the hardest level he ever beat was Electroman Adventures, because no one in our friend group was really skilled enough to beat anything that was like insane. I think few of us had been X-Step. I mean, definitely I had it. My hardest was Dry Out. That's as far as I went. I was definitely the worst player, but I definitely built the most. Yes, him beating Electroman Adventures was groundbreaking, and often when we created a level that was too hard for any of us to verify and it wasn't, unreasonably difficult, we would often give it to him to verify. No, it was a remake of On Edge, which was by my other friend. Anyway, I'm gonna go check out his levels. One of my other friends was more of a creator. He had this one level that he was working on called On Edge, or something like that. It had the Fat Rat Unity as a song. It had gameplay very similar to the start of Ruins. He managed to do the entire full song of Unity in a Geometry Dash level, with all these gimmicks and moving objects and all sorts of stuff. Nobody could verify it. Not even the person who had been in Electroman Adventures. Not even he could beat it. It just stayed unverified and was never uploaded. But this is one of the few levels that exists on his account. It's called Future, and I actually think it's visually the most interesting level that any of my friends have uploaded, probably including me. It's an auto level with a few cool gimmicks. I love these sliding doors. And you get to fly in a spaceship. Was even fire on the platform to show that it was floating. Just one more of my friend's levels I want to show you. This one is probably the best level that any of us made, or at least on the gameplay front. It's called Unfortunate. In fact, I'm actually going to open this up in the editor. The decoration isn't amazing. The night before, when he was building this, he looked at a lot of tutorials on how to build actual proper levels and how to use things like the 3D objects. When he came in and he showed us the next day, we were absolutely shocked and surprised, and we thought he was a genius briefly. Okay, it doesn't look like much now. Like, not at all, but as you can see, there's an attempt. Look at the ground there. Look at the 3D. That's kind of cool on its own. Just the way the ground integrates with that top bit there. In fact, I don't even think 3D objects are meant to be used by like that, but it's kind of effective, at least this first part. And look at that, there's air deco. There's, I suppose you could call this structuring. Unfortunately, this level of decoration doesn't hold up for the rest of the level. In fact, there's a lot of cool stuff in here from a gameplay perspective. And this is cool. I didn't even notice that before. You really have to zoom out to see giant drop, and then there is indeed a giant drop linked to spikes. And I think this is some attempt at a club step monster. So yeah, this was probably the best level that we as a tiny niche group ever built, and I'm gonna play it. I like the description though. Starts hard, plays medium and ends easy, but when you find yourself in trouble quicker than what you think, I guess it's just unfortunate. I think the only two people who were actually able to beat this level was the creator and that one guy I said who had beaten Electroman Adventures, although I'm definitely going to be able to beat it now, because I'm kinda good now. And also the Fat Rat Unity was just one of the songs we always used. Apart from I didn't use it, I didn't really like it. Wow, okay. I got trolled. But this sort of wave gameplay here is commonplace in our era of Geometry Dash, but that would actually be something fresh and original for early 2.0 when this was made. So that's pretty cool. Actually, I'm gonna try to get the coins. Yeah, but it's not as fun getting the coins. I reckon he just added that coin route because he couldn't do the wave. This time. There we go. GG. Unfortunate. One final story thing before I go and end this video. I would like to show you this level called High Madness. This is by me, and I noticed that there were some levels that had stars next to them, and I thought, wouldn't it be very cool if you can get a star next to your level, and maybe my levels will get a lot of downloads or something. So I thought if I make the best level I could possibly make, surely it will be noticed and it will be rated. That's how I thought it worked back then, and I guess I was pretty naive. But yeah, this is essentially my attempt at getting a rated level in mid 2.0. Keep that in mind. I don't know how far I'll get through it, but I'll try and get as far as I can because the gameplay is very awkward. As you can tell, this is... the decoration isn't very polished, but it is drastically better than anything else I made in this era. Especially with the placement of other moving objects in front of other moving objects, how they overlap. Yeah, here's where the gameplay becomes pretty obtuse. Yeah, I wasn't meant to jump there. Oh well. I mean, I think this could have got rated early 2.0, especially if I fixed a few design issues. I've got things like, you know, I've got the animated background, I've got block designs, I guess, got air deco. Those are kind of okay mods, I have to say. I like the way their eyebrows move. And that's a kind of cool gimmick. There's another one. And this is the last ship, I think. I tried to do some parallax, as you can see, but I didn't really understand what parallax was, so it's just very slowly moving objects. Let me guess, I was meant to get the key? No, I'm not meant to get the key. Okay. That's the level. Initially this was actually meant to be a series. There was this one that I uploaded, and then later on I made a level called Neon Desert, which is back on track given the High Madness treatment, and I think that was actually the best level any of us actually made, although it doesn't survive on the servers anymore, so I'd have to today give that to unfortunate. That is what happened, but this is the last piece of evidence that survives on the servers of that series. So yeah, those are some stories from my early days playing Geometry Dash. This will probably just be a once-off video. I just thought it would be interesting to share some of the older stuff that I've been a part of within my community on Geometry Dash, and I guess what that meant to me. So yeah.